Can you believe that just 10 months ago was when everything was starting? Everything started from that walk on the forest that I was there with the Renata Connects in my mind. Renata Connects, Renata Connects, Renata Connect. And then Rekonnekt was born. On that day, pretty much, the idea came up and all the dots came together. So I'm very excited to have you all here. I think that I truly believe that the future is human, and the vision from Rekonnekt is very clear. We want to make this type of events more and more and more consistent and more often, because nothing meaningful is ever built alone. Everything we created this year came from your presence, your feedback, your belief, and your willingness to show up, because alone I can do so little, but together we can do so much. So 2026 is already taking shape. Almost half of the calendar is confirmed. So you can see everything on calendar.reconnect.co. I'm going to share. Most of people here on this call already have it. I will send it after all, but it's on the website from Rekonnekt as well. Join the conversations, invite your colleagues, your friends, join the live experiences if you can. We already have 2 live experiences confirmed for next year, one in February in France and one in Italy in April. So if you can join it, that would be absolutely amazing. You're going to be blown away for what we're going to prepare for you. And I also want to acknowledge all of you. I have to acknowledge, I have to name one by one this time. Emma is used to my naming one by one. I used to name everybody, but today I will, I think, how can I say that? I could not do this without you, because a community is created together. But I want to acknowledge a few people that had been with me from the beginning. And 2 of them are in the call. Let me do, no, more of them now. I just accepted. Paul, there, thank you so much for everything from day one. I think that was phenomenal, everything we did together since the beginning. Emma, where are you? Emma was here when I showed her the first PowerPoint of what Rekonnekt could be. Pascal, you're a legend. Pascal not only started with me from the beginning, but also became a partner from Rekonnekt, and we are doing this event together in February in France, and I am looking forward to it. Marcelo, which is not in the call, he probably is going to come back a little bit later, also is the one that we partner up and doing the event in April in Legarda. And also Ciovita is joining us this year, next year, 2026, with our gear. So we're going to have actually how to say that in English? We're going to have a gear store from Rekonnekt. We're going to create a line called Movement, Growth and Learning with Ciovita. So you're going to be wearing a Rekonnekt branded kit. So that's super exciting. I cannot wait to see the outcome of what they are preparing for us. And I feel even a little bit emotional. Sorry, guys, today. Although I am live, you can't feel here, but I'm actually shaking. So thank you so much for your trust, for walking this journey with me, to keep up building a community where human connection is not just a concept, but it's a lived experience. And now I am very excited for today's conversation, because it feels like the perfect closing to our year. It's a true expression of what Rekonnekt stands for. It's a person that I know for many, many, many years, and we literally reconnected through a common mission, I would say. So it is my pleasure to introduce you to Gabriela. Where is Gabi? I'm going to put you on the spotlight there. And Gabriela is globally respected voice in AI, a leader, a thinker, a founder, an investor. She's so many things, and a friend, and someone who brings both depth and humanity to every conversation. I thought that for us to finish the year in a very high note, I couldn't have gotten a better topic to share with you, because AI is such a big topic out there. And what we are doing is all driven into getting humans together. So what the perfect combination to bring somebody that is so into the world of technology to share a little bit how important are humans. Gabi, I will leave the stage for you to give your introduction. Thank you so much for being here, for your time. And I can't wait to hear all the stories, which, by the way, team, we are going to share these fireside chats in 2 or 3 episodes because there is so much to cover. And I think that first, we have to know who Gabriela is and her journey to here. So, Gabi, the stage is yours.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Very, very excited to be here. We've been talking for a while, and I can't believe that the date's arrived. Um,
Yes.
and yeah, and Renata and I, we know each other for, I don't know, so many years, 27, 8, 30. I don't even know how many years, a lot. And we reconnected this year after probably 20 plus years. Um, and it was great because everything that she's doing is very aligned to what I believe and think and do as well. Uh, Even though I'm very embedded into this AI technology, I'm based in San Francisco, like Silicon Valley. So you can imagine how much is going on over here every day. It's like chaotic. And today I want to go a little bit about like my story because some people see where I am right now and they have no idea how I got where I am. And they feel like you always knew what you wanted. You were like the best student ever. You were like the smartest person in the world, and then you got where you were. So I'm going to go backward, and Renata, you can guide me through if I'm going on a tangent. Uh, but my last official role was at Microsoft. I was director of AI. I joined Microsoft right when they made the huge deal with OpenAI. That's where they were trying to transform the company from like being a dinosaur to become uh, the main AI company. So that's when I joined. And then in May this year, and I like to say that because I was director of AI, working with startups, working with AI. But last May this year, I was part of like a big layoff. Um, so we had 6,000 people. And, like everything in my life happens for a reason. And I always go to like, I turn things around and do something else. So it was hard, definitely more on the monetary side, but like I was able to like, what am I going to do with all the baggage that I have? So anyway, so going back, so where did you get where you are, right? That's a question that I got asked all the time. And I have a little story to tell you all. Because it's a story about resilience. It's a story about never giving up. It's a story of like trying to see the bright side of things. And I was talking to Renata about this because when I was 15 years old, I had to redo the same year again. I was not a good student. I was a normal kid, like playing and but studying was not ever my thing. So I didn't have the grades to go to the next year. So I had to do the first year of high school. And for some reason, something clicked that second year that I was doing again. And I remember also like when I had to redo, there is a lot of like people saying, Gabriela, it's a lost case. She's lost in life and we don't know what's going to happen to her because she doesn't like to study. She's doing the year again. I don't know what is going to happen. Anyway, so did the year again. I started to become a good student. I was reading and um, you know uh, learning, and I was able to finish my high school. And then going to like university was another beast because in Brazil, which is like, I don't know how many of you know the system, is like we are very young when we have to decide what we want to do for life. Different from the US, for example, you can go and choose your career as you go. You can do a major, you can do a minor, you can change, you can get one subject here, there. And in Brazil, we have to decide what we want to do when we are 17. All that to say that, of course, I didn't succeed. Like I did different subjects. I stopped. I went to do like music. I was producing bands back in Brazil. I stopped my studies and I was doing that. Then I went back. And then, anyway, the way that things unfolded was that I finished my bachelor when I was 28, so almost 30 years old, which is like, it's very rare back then. Nowadays, like we know that, especially with everything that is happening in the world, you can go through the university route, but especially here in San Francisco, Silicon Valley, like universities are not that thing anymore. Like you can do a boot camp, you can take classes, you can use like different resources. You don't have to go through the same route or to go to like the best school to get a good job. It's much more flexible. Uh, so then I decided to do a master's because I couldn't see myself working for a company, which is very interesting. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this thing that is like, I'm going to do research. I think that's a easy path for me. And I decided to do a master's. I went to my first master's at PUC in Rio. I hate it. I hated every aspect of it. 3 months in, I'm like, I cannot do this. This is awful. I stopped it. Then another year kind of like wasted. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do something else. I'm going to do epidemiology. I'm going to Fiocruz and I'm going to study epidemiology. Because what I did back in school was statistics. And I'm like, epidemiology, public health, it's like statistics apply to public health. I think it makes sense. So I went to do this master's. It was interesting, was good. And then after a little bit, I'm like, this is not going to take me anywhere. I don't know. I should go somewhere. And then I decided to come to the US. And as you probably know, the easiest way for us to come to the US is as a student. So here I am, 30 plus years, going back to school again, going through the whole visa, trying to apply to the different universities. And my goal was very clear. I'm like, I'm older. I don't have the time to do the PhD route because the PhD is going to take me at least 6 years in the US. Like, it's not like 4 years. On average, it's like 6 years. And I'm like, I can't, because by the time I finish PhD, I'll be 40. Like, there is no way. I need to make money. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to apply for universities that are not that hard, that are not that academic, because I don't think I want to go through the research routes. I don't think I want to publish paper. So I'm not going to Berkeley or any like top school. I'm going to schools that are, okay-ish, because my goal was twofold. My goal was, one, learn English. As I joke, my English was like the book is on the table, right? So I needed to learn English. So I'm going to do this master's where I'm going to learn English and I'm going to learn the technical terms in English. That was my goal. And where I'm not like studying 24/7, which by the way, I did because it was hard, but where I'm able to experience what San Francisco and the whole Silicon Valley and Bay Area has to offer. So I went to this school. It was hard. Of course, it was hard because, like, can you imagine? You don't know the language, and then you have all these international professors teaching you with the accents that you are like, what are they talking about? Like, back then, we didn't have like ChatGPT and all the technology, so all I had was a recorder, and I recorded all my lectures. And I would go back home, I would get my notebook, and then study. So I say that we do twice the work than the average person, right? Uh, then one of the things that um, one of the things that surprised me in the San Francisco and Silicon Valley place, that was 2012. That's when I arrived. Was that the amount of knowledge that was available for free. The amount of like places that you would go for free and learn, the amount of people giving their knowledge for free, that kind of like surprised me. And I was like, hey, you have opportunities. Here's the, like, you know, when people say that the opportunity lands, that's how I felt. You have opportunities, you have places that you can go and you can learn. And even when you go to a coffee shop, just by listening what other people are talking, you learn, like just by initiating a conversation. So all that to say that I started going to those events. Back then, it used to be called like meetups, and meetups were like events. Just to give an idea, nowadays in Silicon Valley, just to give you some like dimension. Now it's crazy because of AI. But now, if you go to like the tech events that we have every night, and they are for free, they are free, we have at least, let's say on average, 15 to 20 events every night for free that talks about technology. Like, can you imagine like 15, 20 events every night? That's a lot. So you can become an expert pretty much by going to those events. And that's what happened to me like in 2012. Of course, the scale was smaller. Maybe we had 5 every night, but I started going to those events every night. And I joke that that was the best of the worlds because one, I would get knowledge for free. I would learn what people were doing in the tech sector and in the companies because we would get speakers from like different companies. And then number two, why was good? Because they always had free food. So me as an international student, it was the best of the world. Like I would get dinner for free every night, right? So it was a good way to get knowledge and then eat. And then of course there was the network aspect. And why there is the whole community that Renata and we talked about, because that's the first thing that got me thinking is like it's very community based how things work over here. Like we are all learning and sharing the knowledge within each other, even if we are competitors. There is this mindset where we are going to grow together, learn together, even if we are competing against each other. And one of the things that I noticed is that the majority of those events were 99% white male. And me as a female, as an immigrant, I didn't feel myself welcomed in that environment. It was hard. So I came up with this idea. I was like, okay, great, Gabriela, you are like learning, getting all this knowledge for free. Now it's your time to give back because I realized that it's like a wheel, how it works. Like people are giving all their knowledge and everything back, and you have to do it. So it's part of like this wheel to be continuing. And I felt it was my time to do the same thing. But then I said, but I don't want to do the same things that the people are doing over here. I want to do something that is going to be more impactful in the way that we all can learn together. We all can feel welcoming in this environment where we can learn without any prejudice or anything, no matter who you are, where you come from, we can all learn together. So my community was very much focused on women and gender minorities because that was the thing that we didn't have. Anyway, so I don't know, Renata, if I'm talking too much, but that was the beginning of the whole community work that I was doing in parallel of like studying and then getting a job and so on. I want to stop here because I have a lot. So like this is like I just talked about like 10 years, 13 years back. So I still have like 13 years to go.
Gabi, that's phenomenal. I think that let's open everybody to ask her questions. I think that make the most of it. Gabriela has so much knowledge and being on the heart of the Silicon Valley, like it's so overwhelming. Like just the
Yeah,
fact that you have.
I can summarize just to go like fast forward a little bit. So then got a job, worked for 3 startups as a data scientist. So I was a statistician, and in 2012 is when the data science term was created. So everybody that did statistics became a data scientist. And then we had people from other fields becoming a data scientist. So I was a data scientist in these different startups. As you probably know, there's a lot of money happening, flowing in Silicon Valley. So all the 3 startups got acquired later on. And they all had like different domains. And one of the things that I always do when I change jobs is I want to work for a domain that I have zero knowledge. I know the technical aspect, but the domain I have zero knowledge, because it's a way for me to know and learn that domain. So the first startup, it was a software company, and I didn't know much about like the back end, the software piece, but I had to do a lot of like calls with future clients. So that was a skill that I had to develop. But that was the first startup. The second startup was an advertisement company. And I always had curiosity on understanding the whole thing about the internet. Like when you go to a page, when you go to like, I don't know, CNN or Amazon, or not Amazon, because Amazon doesn't have, now it has some ads, but if you go like to our CNN or any newspaper and you load the page, and then you have that ad that shows up to you, and then you refresh the page and the ads change, and then the ads follow you through the different pages. I was like, this is so crazy. What is happening behind the scenes? So I was so curious to understand how it worked, that I got a job on that specific domain to understand how it worked. And it was amazing to see the whole thing, how it works on the back end and how it's possible to make it happen. And all the data that we were collecting, we know everything about the customer. We know everything about the user. You know everything about your behavior. We can predict what is going to be your next step. It's just like amazing and very scary. And then the third startup was on the financial, it's a fintech on the financial domain. So they had a credit card. And again, zero knowledge about finance, zero knowledge about credit cards. So I worked with them. And then I was like, I'm done working for startups. It's too crazy. It's like not stable at all. No one here has kids. And then I had my first kid. So no one here has kids. I'm going to work for a bigger company. So I decided to go to IBM, which a lot of people said, are you crazy? Why don't you go to Google? Why don't you go to Facebook? Why don't you go to like this famous company? And I'm like, hey, what IBM is offering me, it's very appealing. And I'm going to be moving to AI. So that's when I officially became, I had AI in my title. And what they were doing was very appealing to me. And I would have a team and so on. So I was with IBM and then Microsoft. So kind of like, this is like my professional trajectory in a way. So now I stop here so we can open for questions.
Anyone has a question? Otherwise, I will kick off here. Put the hands up or just open the microphone. Aiba Trent, go for it.
Yeah. Hi, Gabriela. I'm thrilled to have you tonight. I'm Bertrand. So you're at the forefront of AI evolution. And I would like to ask you an open-ended question and one that is a bit tighter as well. So what is the coolest thing that is coming that you can see that the rest of the world doesn't see yet? And next, what is the biggest risk you see for human connection with AI taking more and more space and replacing it?
Yeah, and that's a great question. You know, because we are in this bubble. I call that we are in this bubble. So we don't know exactly what is different and what is not different. Well, like what you have not seen that I have seen already. We take something for granted. Let me just give you an example. And I don't know. The answer is I don't know exactly, because things are changing so quick. And even if I say this is the next big thing, in 2 months, it's not going to be the next big thing anymore. But I could say that more and more is you have the AI agents doing things for you on your behalf. And the way that one of the things that I can definitely say that it's going to happen is the way that we browse the internet and interact with the internet is gonna change a lot. So what I'm saying is like, one of the things is like, let's say we all are going to get together today in San Francisco, and then we're going to have a dinner at 7:30 in downtown San Francisco, and I need to make a reservation. But each one of us has some particularity in terms of like dietary restriction. So someone is vegan, someone likes meat, the other person only eats salad. But we also want a place where maybe there is some Brazilian music, but also like some, chill vibe. So I want to accommodate all these different tastes from all of you. Can you imagine how hard it is for me to find a place that is going to accommodate all of us, like 10 people, and then to get all the dietary restrictions that it needs to be 7:30 in downtown San Francisco? Can you imagine like how much time I'm going to be spending on trying to find and book a restaurant? So like I'll have an AI agent where I'll give all these criteria, and they are going to go do everything for me. They are going to go back to me and say, Gabriela, this is a restaurant based on all the criteria that you had. It's booked. See you there 7:30. So that's how we are going to be. We're not going to be typing as much. It's all about voice. So all the companies that are doing voice more and more are the ones that are also like winning. But risks. So I enjoy technology to a certain extent. I'm not like a tech lover in the way that's like tech is not around me all the time, all day long. Like I don't have a car with a computer in front of me because I'm like, I have enough during my day. So after my work, I need to disconnect and do the human connection, right? So I have to have a balance. And what is happening now, what is like worries me a lot in the new generation, the folks that are also like moving to San Francisco, the young generation, like they are 18, 20, early 20s, is that they think that we will not need to interact anymore. They think that we don't need to get together. They think that, I'm going to talk to the machine, you are talking to the machine, and that's enough. And every time I talk to them, I'm like, no. This is going to be very problematic. So my main concern, and it's already happening, it's around mental health. And we are already having, but it's again, very small scale. We are going to have a huge mental health issue because of that, because we as human, we need to connect. It's so important. We need to get together. We need to see each other. There is nothing like being together. And unless we show this new generation how important it is, and we as parents, we as someone that are modeling the behavior, we need to be very careful with that. Like from, again, and small things from like the technology that they use. They don't need, like, I have a lot of discussions with parents where they say, but if I don't enroll my kids in this boot camp, like this programming boot camp, my kid is going to be behind. And I'm like, no. They need to develop all the other skills, and these skills they can pick up later. Also, because it's going to change. Don't put your kid in front of the computer the whole day. They need to socialize. They need to get in touch with other kids. They need to be playing with other kids. This is the most valuable skill that they are going to have. And if you think about now in the workplace, the skills are changing. Like you need to be a good communicator to stand out from the rest more and more. If you think about like AI is going to do a lot of like your repetitive work, what is the other thing that only human can do that the machines cannot? So that's going to be the differential, and that's being the differential that I'm seeing right now.
Bia, go for your question. Thank you, Gabri.
Thanks.
Hi, Gabriela. It was great to see you again. It's been a long time. I still remember you like a tiny little skinny girl. It's amazing to see you again. I actually my question is related to what you just said. As a mom, the concern about the kids having the technology as their friends instead of being outside with their friends. So I don't know. I have a teenager and I have a younger boy, and it's funny to see the teenager like sometimes it's not with my daughter but with her friends talking with each other like on the same place. They just text each other, say, hey, why you don't like talk, right? So my concern as a mom is like the kids using the technology on the wrong way, not the right way, instead of I don't know, using as a benefit for knowledge or for other tools. That it's incredible, especially after COVID. I would say that this technology was brought into their lives, right? Now they do everything online, which is bad for the parents as well because we cannot see tests results, we cannot see anything like we used to at school. And then actually it's the institution itself. So how do you think it will be a, I don't know, a parameter, I don't know, something to talk with the institutions that putting the kids, I don't know, in front of the technology all day long? Because here in the States, they study from, I don't know, 7 a.m. to, I don't know, 4 p.m., right? So they stay this long on the computer. So, and they are learning to interact with the computer. So, like the play dates are being harder to see, the interaction with humans, this reconnection needs to restart again because they are reconnecting with technology. So, how do you think I don't know, one day the institutions will see that it's important for them to I don't know if it's put aside technology, or I don't know if have you, I don't know, did you hear something about it? No.
Yeah, there are some movements. It's not come from, it needs to come from the top, right? Like only, unfortunately. But also like there's a lot of like money happening on the technology sphere as well. There are some movements that I've seen that one is like wait until eighth. So you wait until the eighth grade to get a cell phone. I know that there is a big movement on that. But also like it needs, excuse me, it needs to come from the parents, which is very hard because everybody's working a lot, and then you don't have the community, you don't have family around. So then kind of like the default solution is like, okay, go play with this computer. But unless we have legislations, unless we have, and I think US is very based on data, unless we have data showing that it's problematic and here's the issues that we are causing the kids, they will not make any changes. In some places here, in particular, in some neighborhoods, actually, the number of like suicides increased a lot because there is a lot of pressure and competition, that it's insane. Again, I think unless it comes with legislations, law, it's hard for us to change. And if we parents also like don't help each other, it's also hard. And if you think about all the the I think I don't remember if it was Steve Jobs, but there are a lot of people in the technology that work in technology and they don't offer technology to their kids because they know how bad it is. So one of the things that I do as a parent, for example, is when my kid come to me and say, oh, I want to see YouTube. So I try to explain what YouTube is and how they are making money and what is happening behind the scenes and why it's bad for you. So I try to explain so they have some understanding, but also but it's hard. It's hard. I don't have a solution or like I don't know. I'm suffering as a parent as well.
Thank you, Bia. Pascal, can you?
Yeah, Gabriela, super interesting. We could speak with about AI for hours. I work as well on AI in life sciences. So, but more interesting is you. And what I'm used to saying is that AI is complex, but the human body is even more complex. And who we are, when you look at the biology system, it's a miracle to live every second. So in your career, I mean, you have an impressive career. Steve Jobs was saying you can connect the dot backwards. What were the inflection point for you? I mean, it's obvious you took a lot of risk, you adapted to change, you're curious, but what were the key points where you stepped or that was uh, go or break? Inflection point.
Yeah, that's I think was moving here was it changed my whole perception. And then the opportunities that I was mentioning, I didn't have this type of opportunities back in Brazil. And there were other factors, external factors that were blocking me in a way to grow as a professional and as a person. And I felt when I got here, even though I had so much and many challenges, I was able to, to succeed a little bit day by day. And maybe it was like the whole mentality that they have where it's okay if you fail. It's okay if you don't know. It's okay if you like go a few steps backward. It's okay. Like I think this mentality is what changed me instead of like, oh no, if you are not successful from early ages, you are not going to be successful. And that's what stuck with me back in Brazil was always like this pressure of like, if you didn't do this well, you're not going to succeed. So if you are not a good student,
you say the right to fail.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
okay to fail.
It's okay to fail. And it is a mindset that we have here. It's okay. It's okay if you are not the best one. It's okay.
I think back to the chat and the youth. I think we should learn that to the teenagers, because I think they put a lot of pressure on themselves with the social media. When it's okay not to be the A or the first one, but just improve, take risk, fail, learn.
That's so important, and that's why when I moved here and I was able to see things in a different way and get the opportunities, I also decided that I was going to talk to a lot of young people to inspire them and say, your career path or your personal path doesn't need to be a linear path.
Exactly.
You can go through ups and downs and stop and go to the other side and go like something completely different and stop everything. That doesn't dictate who you become. All the loops, ups, downs on your life, it's going to serve a purpose later on. Like if I look back when I was working with music, a lot of the skills that I developed over there helped me tremendously in my career. So, but we need to show the young people that it's okay. This is going to be good later on. Don't worry.
I can't agree more. And to me, there are many people preserving their private life and the personal, and to me, we are one. And what we develop in the personal life or out of work complement what we do. And I think being a one person is super important.
100%. Thank you, Pascal. Emma.
Just a quick one. What did you end up studying? when you went to the US, and you mentioned when you were looking at universities, you weren't, kind of going, I'm going to the big schools, but was there some attraction, like, to end up in California, like in a very much tech-driven hub? Like, was there a pull there that when you were looking at schools, it's like, actually this one kind of makes more sense rather than just open slather, I could go anywhere?
Yeah, great question. So back in Brazil, I did statistics, so bachelor in statistics, then first master's in epidemiology, second master's here in statistics.
Okay.
So I knew that I want to come to San Francisco and California. I would not go any other place because I hate code. And I like the diversity of San Francisco and California. There is no other place in the world that it's like here. I was never a tech person. I never. Like, I'm not when you talk to people that have been in technology for a long time, they are the geeks or nerds, and they know, I always liked Star Wars, or like, I don't know. I'm like, no. I was the opposite. I like to play soccer. I like to be outside. So I was never that kid. So technology didn't drive me to this area. I would say it was more like the diversity and the weather than anything else.
And just, I suppose, another, like, things have changed a lot in, like, from a digital perspective within footprints and where hubs are. Do you still think now Silicon Valley has that illustrious kind of the best place to be when it comes to digital, or have we now, like, you can work anywhere, you can be anywhere, it doesn't have to be, not all paths have to lead you to Silicon Valley? Just kind of like, would you, kind of, do you see yourself moving and going somewhere else, or is it still very important to be present there?
For me, and for a lot of people, it's very important to be here because, again, of the connections and opportunities. I joke that every couple of years, I go around the map and I'm like, maybe I should go to somewhere else, and then I come back. It's so hard. Like, I was able to move away from the city, like San Francisco, to be more on the suburb. But I'm always in San Francisco. I'm always in the scene because it's part of my work as well. So I need to be in this environment. It's important for me professionally. And there is no place in the world. I tell people, you have to come here, even for a few months, just to experience. There is nothing like here.
Very good. There is a few questions here on the chat. Paul, do you want to ask a question? Are you there? I can't see your...
Yeah, I'm here and I'm on camera, Renata, so I don't know.
Yes.
Hi, Gabriela. Thank you for being with us, and it's such an interesting story that you're telling. And my question is related to that because, and it's kind of touching upon what Pascal already asked you about the inflection points. My question is more about personal growth, as we're within the Rekonnekt community, and one of the things obviously is personal growth. So my question to you is, in what context was it startups? Was it the corporates? Was it your study? Where did you endure the best personal growth? And was there some kind of mental imprinting you had to do in order to get the most from that?
That's a great question. One of the things that I did a lot was to observe people, to see how people would act and react to certain situations, especially when I was in meetings and I was not able to talk or like to express my opinion. So then I'm like, I'm going to look around, especially those people that are above me, and see how they do, what they talk, how they talk. So that was a good thing for me, like to learn from the other people and see how they behave. One thing that opened my horizon in a way is, as I was becoming more and more confident, I learned that it was okay to say, I don't know. And when I said, I don't know, I would learn 10 times more when I said, yes, I know. because when I said I know, I had to run to my computer and try to learn by myself. Where like when I say I don't know, can you explain to me? The person will give me the whole knowledge for free, like in a few minutes. I don't have to spend 3 hours. So that was a turning point for me. Like I do say I don't know all the time, and I learned so much more. Um, and let's see if there is any other yeah. I'm trying to think if there is anything else, but those two were like mind blowing in a way for me. Not being afraid, also like I'm not. I can be afraid, and Renata knows I have a lot of like fears on the personal side. On the professional side, I have zero fear, which is interesting. Like it's almost like another Gabriela.
Very interesting. We need to bring her here, Paul, to an experience from Rekonnekt so she can get
Exactly.
zero in her personal side as well.
Yes, I'm working toward
Exactly.
that. I'm working toward that. Like yeah, it's so interesting. Like how can you be so confident in one aspect of your life, and then the other one you're like, oh, I'm so scared of this. Like, but also like the whole professional thing, it became much better as I was getting older as well. I tell people that over 40, like when you turn 40 is the best thing in your life. I don't know, something happens on the 40s that I'm like, I have all the power in the world. No one is going to destroy me. I don't know.
Nice.
It's
Nice.
interesting.
Very interesting, and yeah, let's have that conversation in person somewhere in Europe one time, and then we'll get to the bottom of that. But thank you for this.
Yeah, and if we don't have questions, I can talk a little bit about, because I don't want to spoil. I don't want to give too much today because I want to leave for the next ones. That's why I'm like I'm not I'm not getting deep into AI.
Yes. There is so much, truly. There is here, Elaine. I know it's very early in Australia. I'm not sure if you want me to read your question or you want to go for it. I know it's so we have an Australian here, Gavi. So it's very early there. It must be 4 in the morning, I think. I will read yours, Alain. He says, interesting to hear as we were talking about the youth and the what Beatrice had asked you before, and Alain mentioned in Australia has just imposed a social media ban on youth less than 16 years old. I wonder, what do you think of this controversial measure? Or if you don't think it's controversial as well.
I don't. I would be happy if we had something like this. Like, go watch TV, go play. You can use technology. Like, one thing that I wished I was better at was typing. So yes, you can. I'm not saying don't use technology at all, but like everything in moderation. And I feel like, again, those social media and the things that I created, they are created to make you addict to that. And that's the thing. Even if you think about YouTube or Netflix, more or less, but it's like you don't stop. It never stops. It's like feeding and feeding and feeding and giving you dopamine, dopamine, dopamine. So that's what I'm against. That's what I'm afraid of. There was a study that they and we see that with students at some universities, where you try to engage on a conversation, they can't. They need to go to ChatGPT. Like they cannot think anymore. They cannot engage in a conversation anymore. Like the whole thinking looks like it is blocked. And that's what worries me. Can you imagine? Like they can't. They can say hi, 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 hi. Like they cannot engage. And that's what worries me.
No, that's very interesting. Just before Bia, I go to yours, let me just go through the ones on the chat here. Chris, do you want to go for yours? Where are you? Let me see you here.
I'm actually hiding in my car, to be honest. So I'm sitting watching my daughter play soccer, and sitting here secretly on a video call. So very nice to meet everyone again. The speed in which the technology and the AI is exciting, isn't it? It's coming out, and I'm just curious as to the legislation that we could be facing for not too far in the distant future, and then who is sort of leading this policy usage inside our workplaces in the US that will normally trickle out to the rest of us. So I'm looking at the legislation administration piece around AI and how we need to sort of put that in place, and then the usage policy inside our workplaces. Who's driving those conversations, Gabby?
Well, it might be the president.
Yeah.
but there is a lot of money. There is a lot of money flowing, right? So that's why it's so complicated, because it's so much money happening. And there were a few, I think maybe a few years ago, when they all went to the Congress, and the legislation and the lawyers and the people in the power over there, they couldn't articulate the technology. They couldn't understand that. So like, we felt that they were so behind of what is happening that there is no way that they can catch up and understand what is happening. So there is a lot of issues. One is like, there is a lot of money involved. Like if you think about California, and I don't remember the statistics, but like the amount of money that we make over here, the amount of money tech companies make is like ridiculous. So if you block that, if you slow that, if you have regulation, there is this whole other side it's very complicated. And I don't know. To be honest, I don't follow politics because it drives me nuts. So I try to protect myself as much as I can. And I don't follow politics because it drives me nuts. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Even like with the amount of money that they are putting on data centers and implications on the environment. I don't know.
Just huge.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chris. Mateo.
Well, can you hear me? Yes. Thank you, Gabriela. It's been great to follow your story. I resonate so much with a lot of the things that you say, moving country and going through all of these challenges and ups and downs. I think is great. Maybe I have more of a question on behalf of Rekonnekt, because I really like the part of the story when you were learning from each other and going to these parties and really absorbing all of this knowledge. And I was wondering if you had an idea on how could we replicate what you in a way were doing in Silicon Valley, learning from each other and being exposed to so many people. And I guess obviously you have some great knowledge, and I'm sure you're really good in landing a job, but I'm sure also the network there was very helpful in being in the right place at the right time for some of these opportunities. So I wonder if you, from your perspective, how can we learn from your experience and all of these things that you were doing there, and some in some ways apply this to Rekonnekt and really helping to learn more from each other? Do you have any thought on that?
Well, first of all, Rekonnekt needs to come here and do like a season here. It would be like, can you imagine getting all the founders and like putting them on the Rekonnekt sphere and like connecting in person and doing all of that together? That would be like, from any other place, this would be. Sorry, Renata, we have to come here. I'm trying to bring you here so I don't have to go there. Anyway, I'm kidding. so but yeah, but this is the place where we need Rekonnekt the most. Like so many stories that I hear, with like people being disconnected, that we need Rekonnekt. And one of the things that I didn't mention was the group that I founded, the community group that I founded, like back in 2012. It became something global. It became a huge community that grew globally. And we got to a point where we were like based in chapters, like we had different chapters, like kind of like branches, and each chapter was based in a city. We were we are in over 200 cities in 60 plus countries with 100,000 members, all because the importance of like being together in person, learning in person. And that started in 2012. Now it's more important than ever. We are getting back, like everything is getting back to being in person. But it was something that happened, and it was a huge community. And the amount of like stories that we heard, how this community changed their lives, was incredible and very rewarding, especially for me. So it's called Our Ladies. I can send you all the link to the community. But I would say Rekonnekt Silicon Valley would be amazing. I know. You don't need to move. No, but yeah, they don't need to move. It's just a season. Like, let's say season. The next season, it's going to be in California.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. I love that. Gabi, I actually have a question for you. I sent you earlier the podcast I've been talking to you about. Yeah, there is a podcast that was done on the Diary of the CEO with Tristan Harris. He's I'm reading here, the former Google design ethicist. And he's part of the documentary Social Dilemma. I think did you guys watch Social Dilemma on Netflix about how social media becomes addictive and how it, how it is done things not ethically, right? So I recommend you guys to watch this. I sent it to Gabriela because that's what I want to unpack on the next our next fireside chat, Gabi, which is the myths, the hypes around AI. Right? We hear so many. Yes, that's the one. We hear so many, and as these guys are doing, right? All the thumbnails on from all the podcasts that he does on his Diary of a CEO thing. It's a scary thing. Like, you're gonna lose your job in the next 2 years. The humanity is gonna be extincted, and there is so many hype and so many fear that they plant right into us around AI. So before we wrap it up, it's already almost on time here. I want to ask you 2 questions. What is the biggest myth around AI that you've been hearing? And what is actual real that you are hearing and say, yeah, that's right, that's going to happen? And on the other side, the opposite of people creating this hype that you see, this is bullshit. They just don't know it because they're not in the scene. So you are on the back end of it, so you know it.
Yeah. So when they say that it's going to replace all the jobs, I say no. It's going to make repetitive work and some of the work is going to be replaced. But I don't think all the jobs are going to be replaced. Not at all. That's the first one. The second thing is like, which it's changing. There was a whole discussion of like, oh, if you don't use AI or don't have AI in your workflow, you are behind. Actually, now it's worse than that. In the sense of like, even if you use AI, you are going to be, in some way, you have to adapt. But I don't think AI is going to replace everything, and we are going to be back to the farm, and it's going to change definitely, but I don't think it's going to change totally. And we were talking about this, Renata. There is something very interesting in the US. US makes something like this huge. Like when when the rain is coming, I was talking to Renata about this. Like, there is the rain. oh my God, no, it's going to be a storm. Everybody go back home. Get your bag of sand, put in your door because it's going to be the worst rain storm ever. And then nothing happens, or just a little bit. And like, especially us from Rio, we are like, what is happening? This is nothing. So there is this culture of fear in the US that we are always afraid that something will happen. Like, and I'm saying the storm, the rain as an example, but this is every day. There is something that is part of the culture that we are afraid all the time. We have fear all the time. And there is a lot of people that is putting those fears on us. I try, again, as I mentioned, I try to filter. And I have a very anxious mind if I keep listening to, and luckily I have the critical thinking, so I know what is BS and what is not BS. So when I hear, I'm like, I don't care what you're talking about because you are trying to make me afraid or have fear.
Yep.
So yeah.
Sorry, Emma, was just willing to react. I fully agree with you. I would just say that compared to what has happened in the past, it's so much faster, I think, and the world gets continuously accelerating, which is a bit scaring as well. And you understand that some people just want to disconnect and say, not for me, because everything goes so multitasking, super fast, and so on. Sorry, Emma.
Exactly. So we'll have I will not call a backwards, but maybe it is a backward movement where we are now going to disconnect. We are not going to be using this technology, and we are going to use our creativity to create something else. That's what I see also like happening. A lot of people are already doing this. I'm going to disconnect of all this craziness and I'm going to do something else. And it's going to be lucrative. Don't get me wrong. And you are going to have a better life, to be honest. So there is always, we are always evolving. We are always changing. We are humans. We are adaptable. A new wave will come and we will adapt.
Your point about it being lucrative is really interesting, Gabriela, because our chat last week with Lewis, who is another Brazilian contact from Renata's, I don't know if it was school, but past, and he spoke about from an investor perspective, and his background was, investment banking and maths and statistics, so actually quite similar, but at the same time completely different in the way that he's gone a completely different path. But he was asked the question, like, if you could invest in one thing today, like, what would it be? And he didn't even flinch. He's like, AI, like something, it has to be in AI. So do you also think there's a risk that the AI is seen as kind of the fix-all solution to everything, that it's gravitating and drawing so much interest in terms of finance and from startups in Silicon Valley, it's all AI at the cost of, like, do we have to go down a deep, dark spiral and everybody becomes so, to the point where we're withdrawing from technology, that then it kind of is the second coming and now we're going through something else? Like, it's like AI at all costs and AI is everything. But, I still want to meet people and have a coffee and have conversations. But it seems that we've got a long way to hit the bottom before we kind of realize the power of people. And that's kind of scary.
Yeah, and absolutely. Like, if you ask any investor right now, yes, you are going to invest in AI. Short term, yes. If I think about long term, I would probably invest on something else. Something around energy, something around not AI, something that will not burst if this bubble bursts in some way. And other things, I would look. There is one of the companies that I work with as an investor. They invest in non-traditional companies, and I like that path. It's all about either medicine or agriculture or something on the space, and it doesn't need to be AI related at all.
I agree. I agree. I think the future is human. The future is human, and we need to invest in more people, in getting the people together, in keeping creating these connections. As we are moving forward, I feel like, although here where we are in Italy, the all of that is so distant from you, right? What I mean is here, it didn't arrived in Italy technology as it did in the Silicon Valley, right? Um, so it's just yeah, it's just keeping alive those connections. Let me go through Zanas here before I go and start talking. Zanas, can you ask your question? Yeah, of course you can.
Yes. Oh,
Can
thank you.
you?
Sorry about that. I wasn't sure if there is a time for another question. Thank you so much for very amazing, inspiring, and very human talk. I just want to mention when I heard about your name and all the success you had, and obviously being a head of AI in Microsoft, I would have expected I will see a woman come here talking about, the way American address AI talking conferences. They say, we build this, we are best, we are building a cool shit technology, this and that. And what I've gathered from you, you're very much grounded as a human, which I really, actually, that's the best thing for me, that to see actually a person who is heading up the Microsoft AI, she's really much grounded in humanity. So congratulations I'm really happy for Microsoft actually has someone like you heading up the team. But one question for me really strikes me, when you go to these meetings as a woman, as the characteristic of the personality I can see, how would you do you use the same tone of language, or do you have to be like a male dominant, I don't know, mid white, I don't know, whatever they call it. I'm not very good at segmenting
Yeah.
different group. How would you, for a woman, I mean, I'm a woman, I'm working technology as well. I found that they have this kind of prejudice, certain discrimination, or unconscious bias happening often when I go somewhere. I say, okay, I'm a lecturer at university, I do the AI, I teach user experience design, AI, and everyone, they look at, oh, I feel that they actually judge me. I'm not as good as another male, even though I'm in a same qualifications, same experience, even better than many people. How would you navigate through that, being so grounded and obviously, yeah, you're heading up the team in Microsoft? How, any advice you can give another person like me, basically, that would be very useful.
Yeah, and again, I was not like this at all, like confident. So now I have a few tactics that I use. One of them is like make a joke, or like find a way to kind of like um, break the person a little bit, but with some joke. Or like so many times people would say something that I shared. They were repeating what I just said, and then I would say, "Huh, that's funny. We talked about this. I was talking about this with you." Like, so I try also like to not this. I don't even know how moralizing the person, but I try to use some humor or joke, or be like more flexible in a way, because there is no way that I'm going to be on the same level, in the sense of like, if they argue, I will not argue. I'll go through the other side, right? And it's all about how also you position yourself. Like, you say, I am the best one. I know this. No one will tell me the opposite. So whatever they say, I know I'm the best one. So yes, I have been in the meetings, and I was in the meeting the other day with one of the startups that I work. Um, if you look at the leadership team, it's all men, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like every day there is a work for me to do. We need to change this. Okay, let me talk to the leadership team. We need to change this. We need to have more diverse um, team members, and it's exhausting in that way as well, because always we need to be reminding them about everything, and how they also like act in some ways, But I would say again, I nowadays it's like I joke. I try to make things lighter, and I will never argue and go here because will not take me anywhere.
Very good. Thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, and
Thank
I don't know why, but this is who I am. I am like this. I always joke that even if I was the CEO, I would be the same Gabriela. So one of the things that I always had in my mind, no matter who I am professionally, I'm still the same person. Like I'll be talking to you.
Absolutely,
like
yes.
we are the same level. I hate the
Yes.
hierarchy.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
hate that.
Yeah. That is why you're winning.
Exactly.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome. It's hard. It's very hard, especially in the big corporations, right? But it's that's it. You need to be yourself. Gabi, I think we need to wrap this up. We went a lot over time. I know that you have your commitments as well. As we said before, this is not the only appearance from Gabriela here. The next one, we are looking to unpack a little bit tools and other things that we can do with AI that she can help us in a work environment as well. And go a little bit more through this topic because there is so much to unpack. I think Gabriela just touched the tip of the iceberg today, but I think it's very important for all of us to know her and her story and where she came from, and also her trajectory to where she is right now. So this is very inspiring, Gabri. I think that when we have the first conversation, although we know each other for a long time, when we were younger, I was like, oh my God, I'm talking to the director, and then you just said, Renata, I'm just Gabriela. And then we started to just unpack so much good stuff. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for sharing all this knowledge with us, and for giving back as well. And I'm looking forward to what we're going to do next year. So today is our last fireside chat, but for the year. But we're going to pick it up again with Gabriela on the 15th of January next year and unpack much more into AI. If you like this, as you know, and what we were talking before, share this with more people. I think having the opportunity to have this conversation with Gabriela here in a safe space that we can exchange, this is not easy. So having the chance to get this exposure to more people, it's so important. So we can go through these questions, because the fear and the things that are getting out there in front of us, sometimes are just too much, right, Gabi? That's what we were talking last time. Like, let's smash the hype around this thing and have the opportunity to ask the questions or to listen to other questions. So then you have the opportunity to ask in one-on-one with someone that is in the core of what is happening right now. So don't lose this opportunity to share, because this is very important. Thank you so much. Have you all a wonderful rest of night, a wonderful rest of the year. Of course, I will be in touch. Don't worry. And Gabi, again, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
So
Thank
next
you.
year,
Thank you, Gabriela.
Thanks,
come
everyone.
with your
Thank
questions.
you.
Come with all your AI questions, because we are going to working on this together next year.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Love it.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.